together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, it's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Earle. Just me today, as we have 8 games in the NBA. We have 10 games in the NHL. We got some college football semifinal action as well. We will be going over Penn State and Notre Dame. But before we get into everything there, we'll recap yesterday. Solid day, up 1.5 units yesterday. So can't complain there. College basketball, App State minus 7.5. They beat Coastal by 23. So a nice little winner there. And then Colorado, plus 7.5 was a winner as well. They only lose by 1 to Central Florida. St. Bonaventure plus 3.5 was a loser. Gonzaga minus 30 was a loser. Texas A&M plus 3, they win outright. And then San Diego State minus 19.5. They win 67-38. So an absolute blowout winner there for the Aztecs. And hockey had one play, and they lost in overtime. The Vancouver Canucks, they lose in overtime, which was frustrating. But it just tells me that the Capitals should not have been a minus 190 favorite. But hey, it happens over time. You give me a big dog heading into overtime. It's not something I'm going to lose sleep over there. And then in the NBA, I had 3 plays in the NBA yesterday. Went 2-1. Yeah. I got the Cleveland Cavaliers minus 135. They win 129-122 against OKC. Got the Portland Trailblazers plus 2.5. They win outright 119-100 against New Orleans. New Orleans being a favorite yesterday. That was funny. And then the Clippers prevent the sweep for me as they lose 126-103 against the Denver Nuggets. So there's that. But I've moved on. Just the college football game and the Carolina-Toronto game in hockey. So we'll have a little bit there, but we'll definitely be adding stuff throughout the show. We'll head to the chat. What's good, Robert? What's good? What's good, Nicholas Handy? NHL super uneventful yesterday. It kind of was. It was kind of a whole big thing of blah, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get it started here. The Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers 15.5-point favorites in this game, total of 235.5. Line opened up 233.5, and now we're seeing 235.5. So we're seeing a move towards the over, as well as a slight move towards these Cavaliers. The line opened up 4.5, immediately went to 14.5, immediately went to 15.5, and then it's not moved since then, with 70% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The line, after that quick move in the way beginning, has not moved at all. And then 63% of tickets, 66% of the cash on the over here as well. And the line has moved towards the over, though, from that aspect. So that doesn't surprise me there. We have the Toronto Raptors 8-29 this year, but they're 20-16-1 ATS, 18-18-1 over-under, but they're 1-16 in America this year. So this is a team that struggles away from their home arena there in Toronto. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are continuing to play ridiculously well. They're 32-4, 26-10 ATS. They've been an awesome ATS team, and they're 19-1 at home this year. So this is a team that is dominated in Cleveland as well. Here's the thing, though. They're coming off of a second half of a back-to-back where they played Oklahoma City last night, and they took care of business and won and covered as 2.5 3-point favorites in that game. We do have the Raptors, who have really struggled as of late. They're coming in on a back-to-back as well. They were in New York last night, and They lost 112-98, so they lost by 14. That would be enough to cover this number here. I think this is absolutely dog or pass. That's one thing that I would be looking at would be the Toronto Raptors in this game. And I kind of want to see, can I get a 16? Which I know that's kind of ridiculous. I'll take a 15.5. I'm going to move on the Raptors in this game. And I can get 15.5 minus 105 over on Caesars. So I'm going to move on Toronto in this game at this big number. And I'm going to take a shot with the Cleveland. Actually, really, this should be, let me cancel out this one. I think this is a, well, I can't, can I not cancel it or delete it? Or, oh, no, I can, okay, I can cash out real quick. I'm actually going to go, I want to take a look at what the first quarter spread is for the Toronto Raptors. I think that would be a better option than the full game is the first quarter, which they're not giving me a spread for the first. Over on BetStamp, they don't tell me spreads for first quarters, but that's something I'm going to write down here to look at after the show is over. Is Raptors first quarter. I think this is a spot where the Raptors can keep it close after one, and if the Cavaliers do cover, it would be later in the game. So I think Raptors first quarter is going to be where I want to really look at this game here. So lean Raps first quarter here for me. Raptors plus 15.5. Raps plus 750 money line. I want to hit at least one of these. Cavs plus 15, well, they're minus 15. Dick 4+ rebounds. Did you lose a little bit of money when you cash out? No, I just canceled the bet. And it because I just placed the bet like 2 minutes ago, so I was able to cash out for nothing or for no loss. Usually it's if you let the bet sit for a minute, then it'll. But yeah, I hate cashing out. Yeah, it's annoying, but yeah, I'm gonna look towards Raps first quarter. I'm actually let me shop around here. Because I think DraftKings will have. Usually DraftKings is pretty good with the first quarter lines. If anything. I just need, but unfortunately, I can't shop around over on over on BetStamp because first quarters the only thing they give me is money line, so I'll have to when it comes to the first quarter stuff, just look at the books myself. But I want to just take a look what it is real quick. First quarter player props, no. I just want there we go quarters. First quarter plus 5, minus 105. That's why I'm gonna move on that. First quarter plus 5. Let me track that here. This is over on DraftKings at minus 105. So, and this is a 7:00 game. 7 p.m. We're on DraftKings. I have to manually type this into into BetStamp, which is a little annoying, but it is what it is. There we go. So Raptors first quarter plus 5. I like that spot. I'm at Raps plus 15. Yep, you're good. You're good. We'll move on. The Minnesota Timberwolves are taking on the Orlando Magic. The T-Wolves, 5.5-point favorites in this game. Total of 201. A very, very low total in this game here. Line opened up at a 3.5. It went up to a 4, 4.5. Now we're seeing 5.5s out there. For this one, line opened up at a 207. It's all the way down to a 201 now. So we've had a massive move towards this under. And it has just gradually moved towards the under with absolutely no buyback whatsoever. And now we're starting to see some 200.5s out there. This is a really, really low total. 90% of tickets, 80% of cash is on the over. The line's continuing to drop. Here's the thing, though, is I really don't want this under if I've missed 5 points of line movement. And I'm assuming this is obviously this is injuries on the side of Orlando because they're still without Banchero, they're without Harris, they're without Suggs, they're without Wagner, both Wagners. So this is a beat-up Orlando Magic team that is still fourth in the East somehow. And they are continuing to play okay, all things considered. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games, 3-2 in their last 5. They're coming in off of a win, an outright win as a 10.5-point dog against the New York Knicks, which was kind of interesting there. The Minnesota Timberwolves coming off of a win in cover against the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm not moving on this game. At this total, I mean, under nothing probably is the way I would look. We've noticed this Magic team has been playing some pretty decent unders as of late, where this game looks like a first to 100 wins type of game, which 201, 201.5, that makes a lot of sense there. So lean under the total here, lean under 201 would be the only thing I would go into this game, but not betting it here. Magic plus 5.5, Wolves smash. Banchero back tonight. If Banchero is back tonight, this line drops. I will grab the Magic. No, the T-Wolves. The T-Wolves. If this line drops after Banchero announced back in. We'll move on though, and I didn't think this season we'd be saying that the Detroit Pistons are favored over the Golden State Warriors, but here we are. Pistons minus 2.5 total, 219 in this game. We're starting to see some 220s out there as well. Let's take a look at this cash flow or this line history here, where this line is, oh wow, this line opened up at a minus 5.5 for the Warriors, and I'm guessing some type of injury was announced, and then it flipped to -2 for the Detroit Pistons. So since the line, I'm guessing the line reopened, and I'm assuming maybe no Curry in this game, and Curry is day to day, Draymond Green is day to day. Dennis Schroeder is day-to-day. So a lot of injuries on the side of the Golden State Warriors, which makes sense why the Pistons are favored in this basketball game. Line opened up at a 222.5. It's now at 220. So we have a move towards the under here as well. We do have 59% of tickets and 62% of cash is coming in on the Warriors, and the line's moving towards these Pistons in this one here. We have 84% of tickets, 59% of cash on the over. Line is, I believe, moving towards the under here in this one. I mean, at this number, how are we not on the Detroit Pistons in this game? And I get it. It's scary. They're favored in this one here. But I think this is telling us something. And it's minus 130 over on draft. Oh, minus 125 on Caesars. Give me Detroit here as a slight favor, minus 125 in this game. I mean, when we look at it here, Golden State's going to be missing a few players, which I know that's something we like to usually bet on is when teams are missing players. Honestly, not in this situation for me because I believe Curry missed last game as well. So it's not like I don't think it's the first game without the star player type of angle. And I know we're probably not getting the best number on the Detroit Pistons, but I'm taking a shot with Detroit here, minus 125 over on Caesars in this one here. Caesars giving us some nice lines today. So for me, Detroit minus 125 over on Caesars Sportsbook. If you don't have that, you can get minus 130 over on DraftKings and minus 130 over on FanDuel as well if you don't have access to the other two. So yeah, give me the Pistons in this one here on the money line in this one. Pistons minus 2.5. Yeah. I might swerve on that corner. Whoa. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, with Detroit being favored over the Golden State Warriors. We'll move on. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Houston Rockets. The Rockets 1-point road favorites, total of 233.5 in this game. This line opened up at a 3.5 for the Houston Rockets. It's all the way down to a 1. Line opened up 229.5. It's all the way up to 233.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this game. Let's see if it represents a line move towards the Rockets. 55% of tickets and 51% of cash. So I guess 63% of tickets, 61% of cash on the money line. 77 and 75 on the over in this game as well. Not a game I had particularly too much interest in. I know this is probably the best overall matchup of the night. This is 2 versus 3 in the Western Conference, which is interesting. The Rockets 24-12, the Grizzlies 24-13. This is for second place in the Western Conference here in this game. I guess gun to head, it's Rockets or nothing for me. It would be the way I would lean. Rockets coming in off of back-to-back wins against the Lakers and the Wizards. On the flip side, we have the Memphis Grizzlies coming in off of a nice blowout, or not blowout win, but a 15-point win over the Dallas Mavericks, which snapped a 2-game losing streak for them there. This would be Rockets or nothing for me if I'm getting involved, but I'm not. So it's a pass here for me in this game. Pistons don't cover any game they are favored. I just need them to win. I got the money line. Supness, what's good, Lex? Rockets money line. Grizz money line. It's a cool and nice 28 degrees with -9 wind chill. There you go. Gotta love it, right? Yeah. Let's see. It's saying for us, it's 31 degrees. Feels like 22. So there you go. John Morant under 22.5 points. It's not a Wolves smash. It's a Wolves under game. All right. Golden State Warriors, easy day, Rockets. All right. Interesting. We'll move on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more games in the NBA before we get into the one college football game. And then we get into some NHL. We will look at the Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trailblazers. We have the Mavericks as 7.5-point home favorites with a total of 220 in this game. This number kind of suggests that they're getting somebody back at the very least. This line opened up at a 6.5. It's now a 7.5. It's also the Portland Trailblazers we're talking about. We did back Portland yesterday. They had a nice 19-point win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Luka is still out. Kyrie is still out as well. So they're still dealing with injuries, but they're favorites in this game because the Blazers are that bad, and it's not a great spot for the Blazers. It's the second game. It's the second half of a back-to-back. It's the third game in 4 days, and it's all been on the road for them, and they head home after this. So it's a bad spot for the Portland Trailblazers. The only thing is, do I really want to be laying points with a Dallas Mavericks team right now that, has lost 5 of the last 6 games? They're coming in off of a win. So that is a positive for them. They're coming in off of that win against the LA Lakers as 6-point dogs. They won outright in that last game. So there's that. But do I want to be trusting the Dallas Mavericks to be laying this type of number? 54% of tickets, 50% of the cash is on them, and then 90-90 on the over. So not anything I'm super pumped about here at all. So this is a pretty simple stay-off spot for me with a lean towards Dallas, but I don't trust this Dallas team laying this many points right now. Blazers money line. Yeah, I could see that's a tough spot for the Blazers. That's the one thing I'm worried about there. But we'll move on. We have the Atlanta Hawks and the Phoenix Suns. We have the Suns as 6-point favorites in this game, total 238.5. Let's get into the line history in this one here, where we have this line opening up at a 4, and now it's a 6. So we do have a move towards the Phoenix Suns in this game. Line opened up 238. It's now 238.5, so a half-point line movement towards the over here as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one here, where we have, if I can find this game, there we are. 64% of tickets, 56% of the cash is on the Hawks, and this line's moving towards the Suns, which makes the Suns pretty appealing. 72% of the tickets, 78% of the cash is on the over here as well. I believe the Suns are coming in off of a pretty embarrassing loss, against the Charlotte Hornets, a team that lost, I believe, 10 games in a row previous to that game. And now they lost by double digits to them. And then we have the Atlanta Hawks. They're coming in off of a win. It's the last game of a road trip. This is Phoenix Suns all the way. This is Suns. This is potential Suns double up spot here for me. Let's take a look. Where I'm seeing -5.5 over on BetMGM. I'm going to grab that. And then for the first half, I'm seeing -3.5 over on Bet365. I'm going to double up here on the Phoenix Suns. First half minus 3.5, full game minus 5.5. I think this is a great spot for Phoenix to get right. I'm not a fan of this Atlanta team. This is the last game of a 6-game road trip. They head home to play the Rockets after this, so kind of a tricky spot for them there. So I lean with the I'm doubling up on the Phoenix Suns in this game. First half minus 3.5, full game minus 5.5. The first half on Bet365, the full game on BetMGM. And I'm going to be backing the Phoenix Suns here big time in this one. Hawks +6 and Young 12 plus assists. I think it's a terrible spot for the Atlanta Hawks in this one. But we'll move on. We will move on. We have the Miami Heat taking on the Utah Jazz. We have the Heat 5.5-point road favorites, total of 222.5. I know one thing I don't feel like doing, and that's backing the Heat as a road favorite. Line open up at a 5.5. It's still a 5.5. Line open up 221.5. It's now 222.5. I don't know how anybody can trust the Miami Heat as a favorite right now, especially with everything going on with this team. It just looks like this team doesn't care right now, and that's the problem. That's making it tough to back this team. Even though they're 18-17, you got drama with Jimmy Butler wanting out. They beat the Warriors in their last game 114-98 to snap a 3-game losing streak against Indiana, Utah, and Sacramento. The ultimate thing I think that's going to keep me off of Utah in this game is the fact that these two teams just played, and it was a blowout win for the Utah Jazz, 136-100. So actually that makes me kind of interested in the Heat. 48% of tickets, 56% of the cash is on Miami. So I'm kind of flip-flopping on this game, which means do not bet it for me. Overall, not a game I'm getting involved with, but I would lean towards taking a shot with the Miami Heat, I guess, at this point. I've kind of flip-flopped that I was looking a little bit deeper into this and realizing that these two teams just played and it was a blowout win for Utah. But is this a game I'm getting involved with? No, not at all. Let's see. Heat smash. Funny that Florida's best team sports are hockey, right? It was the Heat a while ago, but not anymore. Not anymore. It's the Florida Panthers. But we'll move on. Final game of the card. The Charlotte Hornets taking on the LA Lakers. The Lakers 9.5 point favorites in this game. Total of 221.5, 221. This line opened up at a 9. It got down to an 8.5. Now it's up to a 9.5 for the Lakers. Line opened up 223.5. It's now 221. So we'll move towards the under here as well. We have the Lakers, who are much better at home than they are on the road. They are returning back after a 2-game quick road trip. They went to Texas, and they played Houston and Dallas. They lost both those games. On the flip side, we have the Charlotte Hornets, who snapped their long losing streak with a 11-point win over the Phoenix Suns in their last game. They, even though, are 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games. The Hornets, they're 5-5 ATS. So this has been a team that has at least been covering a couple of spreads throughout their losing streak here. I have really no interest in backing them. No, that's one thing that is kind of concerning for me with them. Trying to back them is that they're still a team that's getting beat most games, but not terribly, which is something, I guess. We have 68% of tickets, 64% cash on the Lakers, and the line's moving towards the Lakers slightly from a 9 to a 9.5. 90% of tickets, 89% of the cash is on the over in this game. The line's dropping in this one. So I guess under or nothing if I'm betting this game, but not a game I'm going to be getting involved with by any stretch of the imagination. Walker, 12 plus rebounds. It's a fair look. Maybe you look at player props for this game, but other than that, not a game that I'm overly thrilled about going after. So it looks like in the NBA, got a couple nice spots. I got the Raptors +5 first quarter, Pistons, and then the double up on the Suns. I am totally okay with that there. So we'll move on. Well, we don't talk about college football much on the live shows. We talk about it more on the free pick videos, just because there's so many games to really go over. Well, there's not. And maybe this is something where in the shows next season, maybe we talk a little bit of college football, or maybe we have a little college football show next year, something along those lines. Do not know yet. But let's talk about it. Penn State and Notre Dame. Let's get up the line history in this one here. The college football semifinal. All 4 teams that had a bye had a bye in the college football playoff are eliminated. So that's kind of interesting there. And I think they're all dogs. The teams that were bounced there. This line opened up at a pick. And it went up to a 1.5, got all the way to a 2.5. Now we're seeing a 1 now for Notre Dame. So we still have a slight move towards Notre Dame, but nothing crazy. Line opened up 47, and now we're seeing a 45 here as well. I kind of do lean under in this game. We have 63% of tickets and 55% of cash is on the over in this game. The line's dropping. So maybe this is a Penn State team total under, because I am on Notre Dame in this game. 56% of tickets, 57% of cash on the spread, 61 and 66 on the money line for Notre Dame. This is a Notre Dame team, 13-1 straight up, 12-2 ATS. I have backed Notre Dame more than I faded them. I think the one game I truly faded them was the what do you call it? The game against NIU, and NIU won outright. That was their only loss. This Notre Dame Fighting Irish team that so far this year was to the NIU Huskies, which is really interesting there. And I'm very high on Notre Dame. I got a piece before the Georgia game. I grabbed a piece at 7-1 for Notre Dame to win the national championship. So that's my thoughts on this Notre Dame team. Is I like them very much, and I think this is a team with a lot of potential to go ahead and win the whole thing. I think their defense is one of the best in the nation. On the flip side, we have Penn State, who are 13-2 on the year, 8-7 ATS, and 6-9 over under. I'm not as high on Penn State. I'm not. This is a Penn State team that when they're big favorites, they get the job done. When they're dogs, not so much. Because I believe the 2 games they've lost this year, they were underdogs. They lost against Oregon as 3-point dogs. They lost against Ohio State as 3-point dogs as well. Every other game that they have won, they've been pretty significant favorites. So this is basically a team that can play down, can beat up on bad teams, but when they get good teams, they struggle. And they've had one of the easier routes to the semifinals that I've seen in a while. SMU and Boise State, whoop-de-frickin-do. Notre Dame, they got Indiana in the first round, which Indiana, whatever. I wasn't very high on Indiana. And then a Georgia team that has been a perennial contender the last so many years. I took Notre Dame. I got them minus 120, and I plan on riding Notre Dame to the national championship this year because I do believe they are the best team in the nation. I think they're the best team remaining. I think they're better than Ohio State. So I'm on the Irish, minus 120 here for Notre Dame for me. Irish money line, under 45.5. Yes, this would be under or nothing for me. And that's something I might add. Is I want to take a look what this is real quick. Along with Irish money line, what is Penn State team total under? Because if I double up on Notre Dame, it's me backing their defense. 22.5 at minus 108 over on Pinnacle. So we're probably going to be looking at more like 22.5 minus 115 on like a Bet365 or a Fanatics or something like that. So that might be something I get to later, is the Penn State team total over. That's just a lean for me at the moment, though. Would be Penn State team total under. I took Notre Dame. Penn State has an elite tight end, number 44. Yeah. Riding Irish Natty 15-1. What's good, Tim? Yes, I got 7-1. And I put a small bet on that. So I am with you. ESB is Irish all the way. But we will transition from college football to the NHL. We have the We have a 10 game card in the NHL. We'll kick it on off with the Seattle Kraken and the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Kraken, now we're starting to see some 130s out there, which is probably going to end up getting me to pull the trigger on Columbus in this game here. Total 6.5. I was kind of surprised to see what my projections had for this game. My numbers do not have the Kraken very good. This is a Kraken team that has struggled. 2.71 expected goals for over the last 10 games, 3.55 against, and that's kind of reflected in their 2-7-1 record. On the flip side, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're coming in off of a shootout win. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. 2 of those wins were in shootouts against Pittsburgh and against Carolina. This is a Blue Jackets team that's playing better hockey as of late. And my number has this game at a 6.32. So I think that the 6 juice towards the over and the 6.5 are correct in this game here if you're looking at the total in this spot. But this line moving the way it is, let me see what I can get for them. Plus 110 over on Bet365. Sign me up for CBJ in this game. This Blue Jackets team has been playing much better as of late, and I look for them to continue playing well against a struggling Kraken team. So for me, I will look towards the Blue Jackets here. Plus 110 now against the Kraken in this one. CBJ puck line. Wow. I think I trust CBJ more than the Kraken. Yeah. Joey Decord expected that could change things for them. Maybe yeah, but it is what it is. I'm not overly worried about that. But yeah, I could see something like that. We'll move on to the next one. Buffalo Sabres, Ottawa Senators. This is another game where I think this line has gone way too far. Because I think last night this was in the minus 130 range, minus 140 range. Why are the Ottawa Senators laying $1.65 in this game against Buffalo? Like, I get it. Buffalo's not a good team. Ottawa, this is their first game back after their ridiculously long road trip. This is, I mean, the World Juniors was happening. So Ottawa went on a 9-game road trip. They played Seattle, Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Dallas, St. Louis, and Detroit. And now they're finally back home. And we're laying $1.65 on them? Fuck no. This was not a game I was expecting to be on. But when I'm diving into this a little bit deeper, my numbers have Ottawa around minus 130 range, minus 125, minus 130, not minus 165. Like, that's ridiculous. And I can get plus 140 on the Buffalo Sabres in this game. Yeah, sign me up. I think this is a terrible spot here for the Ottawa Senators coming back. Granted, it was not a successful road trip. They won the first 3 games, but after that, they lost 5 of the last 6. And this is pretty plain and simply a team that should not be laying $1.65 in this situation. The Buffalo Sabres have had a few days off. Their last game was that 4-3 shootout win versus the Washington Capitals. Both these teams went to overtime in the last game. I think this could potentially be a draw candidate as well for people who do like draws. But give me plus 140 on the Buffalo Sabres. This line has gotten too far for the Ottawa Senators. So I'm going to take a shot with Buffalo in this one here. You're funny. Over 6. Sabres give up a lot of goals. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Sends team total over. I'm on both Buffalo and the Rangers. Interesting there. I think that was not a game I had written down that I would like to get involved with. But that's an interesting transition because let's talk about it. We have the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. We have the Devils minus 170 road favorites with a total of 6.5 in this game. Now, you guys know my thoughts on the Devils. I'm very, very high on New Jersey here this season. And actually, wow, this is one of the higher projected games that I had. I have this game projected for 7.1 goals. So this might be an over 6.5 type of spot here for me with the New Jersey, with this game right here. Now, I have the Devils projected as a favorite in this game. Yeah. I have them more along the lines, though, of a minus 160, minus 155 type of favorite. So I think actually this line's correct. This line going from a 6.5 down to a 6 is not correct. I see this game as a 7. And New Jersey's one thing that for New Jersey is they're coming back after a long road trip here. They've played 5 games on the road. This is the last game of a 6-game road trip. And they opened it up in Carolina, and then they went to Anaheim, LA, San Jose, and Seattle. Now they're coming back to Madison Square Garden before they can head home to New York, New Jersey. On the flip side, we have the New York Rangers, who are playing this game, and then they hit the road. They head out west. They'll play Vegas, Colorado, Utah the next 3 games. Not a situation that I want to back the Rangers in at all, but not a spot I want to back the Devils in at all. This line going down to a 6, though, is going to put me on the over. Because my numbers have this game at a 7. I think this line has gone the wrong way. I'm getting a 6 at minus 115. Give me the over 6 here between New Jersey and New York on this one here. Minus 115 over on Bet365. I think this line going down is incorrect. So we're going to take a shot here. Over 6 for me, New Jersey, New York. Sabres and Reg. There you go. Devils team total over. And Devils first period puck line. I could see it. I could see it. New Jersey taking advantage in this game and winning this game. Maybe if you like New Jersey, you can tie the money line to an over 5.5. Get a nice plus price tag there. But we'll move on. And I think the markets have kind of picked up that the Penguins are a bad team because they have left no betting value on fading them anymore, which is frustrating. We have the Oilers and the Penguins in this game. The Oilers minus 205 favorites, total 6.5. I do have this game projected at 6.17, and I have this game more along the lines of Oilers minus 165. So, crazy as it sounds, is a slight lean towards Pittsburgh. Do I want to back Pittsburgh? No, not a chance. I back Pittsburgh. And Edmonton's dominated this matchup. They've won 7 straight games against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they've covered the puck line in every single one, and they've gone over the team total over in every single one. 4-0, 4-0, 6-1, 7-2, 6-3, 5-1, 5-2. It's been a pure domination and goal fest with the Edmonton Oilers when they play the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Oilers are coming in on 4 straight wins. They're currently second in the Pacific Division. Wins against Utah, Anaheim, Seattle, and Boston. On the flip side, this is 3 straight losses in overtime or shootout for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're 4-3-3 in their last 10 games. They've gone to overtime in 5 of their last 10, including the last 3 games against Florida, Carolina, and Columbus. And for me, I mean, this line is way too wide for me to want anything to do with Edmonton in this game. And I could see this game as another draw for Pittsburgh. We've seen Pittsburgh keep in the playoff race, doing it the Islander way, losing in overtime. Because I believe Pittsburgh now has more overtime losses than the New York Islanders do. That's interesting. I think Pittsburgh is second in the NHL in overtime losses. The only team with more overtime losses is the Vancouver Canucks. They have 10 overtime losses, including last night as well. Nashville has 7 overtime losses, which is tied with the Islanders for third. The Pittsburgh Penguins have more overtime losses than the New York Islanders do, which is interesting there. I guess I lean draw on this game. That would be the only way I would look in this one, try to take a big shot for some plus money, but which means I see value on Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, that the markets have taken value away from fading Pittsburgh anymore, so it is what it is. Pens money line, Skinner goal. Fair. We'll move on. We have 6 more games on the card. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Dallas Stars. The Stars minus 150 road favorites with a total of 6.5 in this game. My projections for this one, 6.19 goals. And I have this game projected with the Stars at around minus 150. So I think this line is about correct in this game. In the spot, we have Dallas coming in on 5 straight wins, back-to-back overtime wins against Utah and against the Rangers. On the flip side, the Philadelphia Flyers off of 3 straight losses. They're 17, 19, and 5. They currently sit 6th in the Metropolitan. This is probably Dallas or nothing. If I'm playing, I'm probably taking a Dallas -1 line. but is this something I want to really get involved with? Not really. So this one's a pass for me with a small lean towards the Dallas Stars, but not enough for me to go ahead and put my money on it. So Stars are pass, but no play here for me. What about the under 6.5? I would lean towards the under 6.5. The Rangers, are you high? Let's go Devils. I took the over. That's all. Wanted Pitt, but couldn't take it. True. Oilers penalty kill is kind of mid, and the Penguins power play is top 5, so they'll keep this close. Yeah, you can definitely see it be close there. Maybe if that's the case, you look at power play points for player props. Someone like Crosby or Malkin, Letang, Carlson, or not Letang, Carlson. But yeah, we'll move on though. Boston and Tampa Bay. The Lightning minus 165 favorites in this game. Kind of a big number here for Tampa. That kind of caught my attention there. Total of 6. I have this game projected for 5.83 goals. I think the total is about right. And I have this game projected for the Lightning to be around minus 150. So I think, once again, this line's about right in this game here. Boston's been a funky team this year. Sometimes they look really, really strong. Other times they look old and slow. This is a Boston team that has lost 5 games in a row now. They're coming in off of a shutout loss. So now that puts them into a system play here. And it'll be an over for me in this game at 5.5 minus 120 with them minus 125, my bad, over on Fanatics for Boston, Tampa Bay. And when it comes to it, yeah, I mean, they've struggled defensively. They've given up 4, 5, and 6 goals the last 3 games, Boston. And I see this as a spot for Tampa Bay potentially to get a win here in this one as well. So maybe it's a lean towards Tampa team total over here as well, which that's 3.5 at plus money. So don't hate that look either. But for me in this one, I got over 5.5 minus 125. Boston and Tampa Bay. Stars minus 1.5. The Flyers have terrible defense. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Bullets minus 1.5. Just a better team all around. And Boston money line. Fair. I got involved with this game last night. And I did a free pick video for it there. Over 5.5. We had the Raleigh. The Carolina Hurricanes are taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have the Hurricanes minus 165 favorites in this game with a total of 5.5 in this one here. And the 5.5 kind of caught me off guard a little bit here because I was expecting a 6 in this game. My numbers for this one, I have this game projected at around a minus 150 for the Hurricane, and I have this game projected for 6.36 goals. So I have this game projected for an over in this spot. I thought this line would have been more of a 6.5 range rather than a 5.5 range. So I'm on the over 5.5. I got that at minus 120 last night. As for the side, I think the line's correct. I think there's no value on either side, money line wise. Because I had this game around a 150. I'm seeing 160, 165 for Carolina, but I'm only seeing plus 140 for Toronto. So I think that lands right in the middle there. For no value on the side, but value on the total here, over 5.5 here, Carolina and Toronto for me. Leafs money line. Yeah, I could see the Leafs. But I don't see enough value for it here. We'll move on. St. Louis and Anaheim. We have the Blues minus 190 favorites. A little bit of a hefty price tag for the Blues in this game. Total of 5.5. In this one, I do have this game projected for 5.95 goals, so the over 5.5 does have a little bit of intrigue for me. I am starting to see some 6s out there, though, so I'm guessing the 5.5 are juiced heavily towards the over, which will ultimately probably keep me off of that. And as for the side perspective, I have this game projected for the Blues to be around minus 175. This is a Blues team that their advanced metrics have actually been pretty good. They've won 7 straight games against the Anaheim Ducks. They've lost back-to-back games, so they lost 6-4, both games against Minnesota and against Columbus. So kind of a Blues team that's struggling a little bit as of late. I think this is going to be a good get right spot for the Blues, but not at minus 190. And I think this total, with it being now a 6 on most books, is correct. So ultimately, not a game I'm getting involved with. I feel like this is a good Blues get right spot, but am I going to be betting it? No, I'm not. So it would be, I want to say Blues or nothing. That would be my lean in this game, but not one I'm going to be forcing action in. Over 5.5, yeah, that would be my lean as well. Would be the over 5.5 in that game. But we'll move on. We have 2 games remaining on the card. The Colorado Avalanche taking on the Minnesota Wild. In this game here, we have the Avs minus 130 road favorites with a total of 6 in this game. And we have the Avalanche coming in off of a loss last night. I should have taken a shot with the Blackhawks as Chicago won that game 3-1. Kind of a little bit of a surprise there for that one. They won out. It's like 2-1 dogs at home. And Minnesota, they're a team that they're coming in off of a win. So they've looked good as of late. This is a Minnesota team that's beating good competition. And without Kaprizov. That's one thing as well. They've won 4 straight games against St. Louis, Carolina, Washington, Nashville. So kind of a not the easiest of schedules for them. And they're getting the job done. The Minnesota Wild. As I'm trying to stall so I can put in the numbers from last night's game against the Blackhawks, because I got all my numbers done yesterday and I forgot the Avalanche played a back-to-back last night. So let me go ahead and throw these numbers in so I can have a projection for this game. And I have this game projected around minus 130, minus 135 for the Colorado Avalanche, and I have this game projected for 6.21 goals. So I think these lines are correct. Could be a nice little spot for Colorado to bounce back after a bad loss yesterday against the Blackhawks. But am I looking to back them on a second half of a back-to-back, a third game in 4 days with some travel involved? No. So this will be a stay-off spot for me, with a small lean towards the Avalanche to bounce back, but nothing will be moving on here in this one. Quack, quack. Avs puck line. The Wild are good because the goalies are playing unreal for them. Yes, the Wild have been awesome, and I have a piece of the Wild. And I mean, my ultimate hope for this game is we see overtime because I have both these teams win the Central. I think 750 and plus 490. 490 on Minnesota, 750 on Colorado. Kaprizov overrated? No, the guy's a superstar. Yeah. What about the under 5.5? 5.5. I lean over. At 5.5, I lean over. Chicago Blackhawks had that reverse puck line. Yeah. Wild and Reg. Fair. We'll move on. Final game of the night, the Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Islanders. Minus 170 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Total of 6 in this game. Islanders have had a few days off. Their last game was on January the 5th. And that was in Boston. It was a 5-4 overtime win, snapping a 3-game losing streak for the Isles. On the flip side, this Vegas Golden Knights team has been playing unreal as of late. They've won 3 in a row, 9 of the last 10. The only game they lost was on New Year's Eve against Montreal. It was a 3-2 overtime loss, or a 3-2 loss against Montreal. As minus 215 favorites in this one here, in that game there. My projections have the Golden Knights around minus 160. So I think this line's about correct. And I have this game projected at 6.42 goals. So I think maybe it's a small lean towards an over in this game. Overs in Vegas are something that, I won't talk anybody off of because I feel like Vegas has been a strong over team this year at home more than on the road. Generally, as a dog, it's generally where I want the Islanders more. But this is not a Vegas team I'm going to step in front of at home that are 17-4 at the Fortress there at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. So no play for me to end the card. I'll be watching this game though with the Isles, but no action here for me. It'd be over or nothing here for me. VGK puck line, yeah. If the VGK hit minus 180, it's a cash cow. Yeah, right. Sabres over 5. Over 5.5. I could see it. I took the Sabres at plus 140 in that game. So that is the full NHL card. Where did I move on here in the NHL? I'm on over 5.5 Boston, Tampa Bay, over 6 New Jersey, New York. Buffalo plus 140, Columbus plus 110, over 5.5 Toronto and Carolina. So that's what I got for the NHL, and that's what I got for the full card today. That is going to wrap it on up. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. You guys have made it 50 minutes into this live stream. If you have gone all that way without hitting the like button and without hitting the subscribe button and turning on post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we are live here at ESB, I don't know what you guys are doing. But that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Good luck, everyone.